Rexburg, Idaho, a small town, a place where neighbors wave, children play, until the unthinkable arrives. The disappearance of J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan cast a long shadow. Their faces stared out from missing posters. A community held its breath, praying for their return. But something felt wrong. A darkness had settled. The investigation became a media spectacle. Reporters descended on Rexburg. The world watched, waiting for answers. Every new detail seemed more bizarre. The case was a twisted puzzle. At the center stood Chad Daybell, an author of doomsday books. His charisma had drawn followers. Now it seemed cold, calculating. Had he orchestrated a tragedy? As weeks turned into months, hope faded. The community grappled with a chilling truth. This was a tale of betrayal, delusion, and unspeakable loss. The story that unfolded was like something out of a nightmare. Chad Daybell's world was built on a foundation of bizarre religious beliefs, apocalyptic prophecies, and a dangerous fascination with the afterlife. He preached about zombies, claiming that some people were possessed by dark spirits. His words, once dismissed as the ramblings of a deluded mind, now took on a chilling new meaning. Lori Vallow Daybell, Chad's wife, was an enigma. Once a loving mother, she had undergone a chilling transformation. She embraced Chad's extreme beliefs with a fervor that bordered on fanaticism. Her own children, JJ and Tylee, became obstacles in their twisted worldview. Whispers of a cult began to circulate. Friends and family members described a group obsessed with end-of-the-world scenarios and the belief that they were chosen by God. Their once normal lives were consumed by paranoia, fear, and a disturbing disregard for human life. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered a trail of suspicious deaths. Lori's previous husband, Charles Vallow, had died under mysterious circumstances. So had Chad's former wife, Tammy Daybell. Were these merely coincidences, or were they part of a larger, more sinister plan? Building a case against Chad and Lori Daybell was like assembling a jigsaw puzzle in the dark. The evidence was circumstantial, the motives murky. The prosecution faced an uphill battle, but they had one crucial advantage: the sheer depravity of the crimes. The courtroom became a stage for a chilling drama. Prosecutors meticulously laid out their case, presenting a mountain of evidence. Cell phone records placed Chad and Lori at key locations, aligning with the timeline of the children's disappearance. Security camera footage showed the last known images of JJ and Tylee. With each piece of evidence, the prosecution chipped away at the facade of normalcy. Lori Vallow Daybell sat in the courtroom, her face a mask of composure. Gone was the frantic mother pleading for her children's safe return. In her place was a woman shrouded in an eerie calmness, her eyes betraying a chilling detachment from the horrors unfolding around her. The prosecution presented a portrait of a mother who had abandoned her maternal instincts, choosing instead to follow a path of darkness. They pointed to her bizarre behavior in the weeks leading up to the children's disappearance. She had withdrawn from friends and family, her once warm personality replaced by a cold, almost robotic demeanor. Witnesses testified to Lori's increasingly erratic behavior, her obsession with Chad's doomsday prophecies, and her belief that her own children were possessed by evil spirits. They described a woman who had lost touch with reality, consumed by a dangerous delusion. As the trial progressed, cracks began to appear in Lori's carefully constructed facade. Her composure faltered, replaced by flashes of anger, defiance, and a chilling lack of remorse. The mask had slipped, revealing the true face of a mother who had betrayed her children in the most unimaginable way. Chad Daybell's defense team faced an uphill battle. The evidence against their client was circumstantial but damning. They argued that Chad was a victim of Lori's manipulations, a pawn in her twisted game. They painted him as a loving husband, blinded by his devotion to his wife. He was a man of faith, they argued, who had simply been caught up in Lori's web of lies. His apocalyptic beliefs, they claimed, were misconstrued, his words taken out of context. But the prosecution chipped away at this defense, exposing the inconsistencies and contradictions in Chad's story. They pointed to his suspicious behavior, his attempts to cover his tracks, and his chilling lack of concern for the missing children. The defense's case rested on the premise of reasonable doubt. They argued that the prosecution had failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Chad was involved in the children's deaths. But as the trial progressed, that doubt seemed to dwindle with each passing day. The courtroom became a stage for a parade of witnesses, each with their own piece of the puzzle. Friends, family members, and former followers of Chad Daybell painted a disturbing picture of a man who preyed on the vulnerable, exploiting their fears and insecurities. They described a charismatic leader who demanded absolute loyalty and obedience. They spoke of strange rituals, bizarre prophecies, and a growing sense of unease as Chad's teachings became increasingly extreme. Former members of Chad's inner circle testified to his hold over Lori Vallow Daybell, describing a relationship built on manipulation and control. They spoke of Lori's transformation from a loving mother to a woman consumed by paranoia and fear. Each witness added another layer to the already complex narrative. Their voices, trembling with emotion, brought the horrors of the case to life, leaving no doubt that this was a story of profound loss and unimaginable cruelty. In the digital age, even the most carefully concealed secrets can be unearthed. The prosecution in the Chad Daybell trial relied heavily on digital evidence to weave together their case, demonstrating the crucial role of technology in modern criminal investigations. Cell phone records placed Chad and Lori at key locations, their movements meticulously tracked in the days leading up to the children's disappearance. Text messages revealed their growing paranoia, their chilling indifference to the fate of JJ and Tylee. Internet searches provided a window into their twisted worldview, revealing a fascination with death, burial, and the afterlife. Security camera footage captured the last known images of JJ and Tylee, their young lives snuffed out in a matter of days. The digital evidence was damning, painting a clear picture of a couple who had gone to great lengths to cover their tracks. But in their haste, they had left behind a trail of digital breadcrumbs, a roadmap to their own undoing. After weeks of testimony, the fate of Chad Daybell rested in the hands of the jury. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation as the jurors filed in, their faces etched with the weight of their decision. The silence was deafening as the judge read the verdict. 10 minutes. That's all it took for the jury to reach a unanimous decision. Guilty. Chad Daybell was found guilty on all counts, including first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and grand theft. The courtroom erupted in gasps and sobs as the weight of the verdict sank in. For the families of JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan, it was a bittersweet victory. Justice had been served, but it couldn't erase their pain. The children were gone, their lives tragically cut short. All that remained were memories and the haunting question: how could this have happened? The guilty verdict in the Chad Daybell trial sent shockwaves through Rexburg and beyond. A community that had been holding its breath for years could finally exhale, but the scars of the tragedy ran deep. The case had exposed the dark underbelly of religious extremism, the dangers of unchecked power, and the devastating consequences of blind faith. It had also highlighted the crucial role of law enforcement and the unwavering pursuit of justice, even in the face of unimaginable evil. For the families of the victims, the verdict brought a sense of closure, but it couldn't bring back their loved ones. The pain of their loss would linger, a constant reminder of the darkness that had descended upon their lives. The Chad Daybell trial will forever be etched in the annals of true crime history. It was a case that captivated the nation, shining a light on the dangers of religious extremism and the devastating consequences of unchecked power. The trial also had significant legal implications, raising questions about the use of digital evidence, the role of expert witnesses, and the challenges of prosecuting cases with complex motives and circumstantial evidence. But perhaps the most enduring legacy of the Chad Daybell trial will be the memory of JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan, two innocent children whose lives were tragically cut short. Their story serves as a reminder of the preciousness of life and the importance of protecting the vulnerable. The ripples of this tragedy will continue to be felt for years to come, a somber reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most idyllic communities. And as the nation grapples with the aftermath of this case, one question remains: how can we prevent such horrors from happening again?